Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here, as always, on the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade, JJ Williams, thanking you for coming back and joining me here once again in the theater. Now, for today's review, we're going to go back to the mid-90s. And a film that would be the first theatrical release for a woman who would go on to become a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model and Victoria's Secret angel. This is Higher Learning. Now, Higher Learning is a 1995 American drama film written and directed by John Singleton, and starring an ensemble cast which includes Omar Epps, Kristy Swanson, Michael Rapaport, Ice Cube, Jennifer Connelly, Regina King, and the woman who I alluded to in her first theatrical film, Tyra Banks. Now, as our movie opens, Kristen Connor, played by Kristy Swanson, is a friendly but naive white woman from Orange County, California, while Malik Williams, portrayed by Omar Epps, is an angry black high school track star on an athletic scholarship. Both of them are freshmen at Columbus University, attending a dorm party hosted by Fudge White, played by Ice Cube, a senior and militant Afrocentric activist who has been attending the university for 4 years. Now, Fudge's roommate, Remy, played by Michael Rapaport, is a quiet white man from Boise, Idaho, and a fellow freshman. Remy contacts campus police in order to break up the party due to the loud rap music which is interfering with his studying. Fudge argues that the police unfairly target the black students while ignoring the white students playing loud, as he calls it, hillbilly music. Kristen later meets Taryn, played by Jennifer Connelly, an openly lesbian feminist junior who warns her about walking alone at night and invites her to join a student group. Meanwhile, Malik and Kristen both take a political science class taught by Maurice Phipps, played by Laurence Fishburne, a conservative black man from the British West Indies who challenges his students to determine their own identities instead of letting others categorize them. Now, a turning point in the story occurs when a frat boy named Billy McDonald, played by J.R. Ferguson, rapes Kristen, ignoring her refusal to have sex without a condom. When Monet, played by Regina King, who is Kristen's roommate, discovers her crying and receives a racially offensive call from Billy, she decides to seek help from Fudge, who recruits his friends to confront Billy at a frat party in order to beat him up badly for the racist remarks. Kristen points out Billy to the black students, who force him to apologize to Monet for racially insulting her during his phone call, but they don't know that he sexually assaulted Kristen. Shortly afterwards, Kristen joins Taryn's student group and confides in her about the rape. Taryn encourages Kristen to report the crime, and as they grow closer, Kristen begins to develop romantic feelings for Taryn. Eventually, Kristen decides to continue a relationship with Wayne, played by Jason Wiles, a college student and friend of Malik's that she was already dating before she met Taryn. When Remy complains about Fudge's habit of constantly disrupting his studies with loud music, Fudge mockingly threatens him, leading Remy to move out and get a new roommate named David Isaacs, played by Adam Goldberg. Remy's frustration grows when Malik mocks him after winning at a video game. Shortly afterwards, and feeling increasingly isolated from his peers at the university, Remy befriends a group of white supremacists led by Scott Moss, played by Chloe Hauser, who live close to the campus. Remy is influenced by their racist beliefs and eventually joins their ranks as a Nazi skinhead. After Malik confronts Phipps over a poor grade on a paper and accuses him of selling out to the white establishment, Phipps shows him the various spelling and grammatical errors and emphasizes the importance of taking personal responsibility and working hard to make a difference, explaining to Malik his perspective that Black people have to work twice as hard to achieve the same social status as white people. Afterwards, Malik improves his writing skills thanks largely to the help of his girlfriend, fellow track athlete Deja, played by Tyra Banks, and he learns a valuable lesson about self-improvement. Remy's hatred and racism begin to escalate as he ends up pulling a gun on Malik and David, using racial slurs, and he eventually drops out of the university. Encouraged by his neo-Nazi friends, Remy, armed with a sniper rifle, opens fire from a rooftop during a peace festival that was organized by Kristen and Monet. Deja is killed, and a vengeful Malik is attacked by campus police who restrain and violently beat him. After apologizing for his actions, Remy commits suicide by shooting himself in the mouth in order to avoid more humiliation as well as prison. He does this in front of the apprehending campus police officers. In the aftermath, Malik discusses his future with Professor Phipps, explaining that he feels discouraged and unsure about continuing his studies after everything that has transpired. Phipps expresses trust in Malik's judgment, and Malik and Kristen, who have had very minimal interaction with each other, have a conversation near a converted Christopher Columbus statue as they reflect on the recent events. Now, while Kristen believes that the shooting was her fault, as she's the one who organized the Peace Festival, Malik reassures her that she is not to blame and that it was the right thing to do at the time before he walks away from the campus, leaving his fate at the university undisclosed. The film concludes with Fudge, Taryn, and others graduating from Columbus University, and the closing shot features Professor Phipps walking beneath the American flag with the caption, "Unlearn," superimposed over it. The film garnered Laurence Fishburne an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture, an award that Ice Cube was also nominated for. The exterior shots and the outdoor scenes of the film were shot on the campus of the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, while the interiors were shot at Sony Pictures Studios. The character of Malik, played by Omar Epps, appears a year later in the film Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, a comedy movie that stars Sean and Marlon Wayans that parodied some of the popular Black movies of the 90s, including Higher Learning. 1 year later, after the graduation of a friend, Malik had returned to the university where he ends up being shot and killed by a new Skinheads member. The band Eve's Plum makes a cameo appearance as the band performing at the Peace Rally. This is notable because Colleen Fitzpatrick, the lead singer for Eve's Plum, would go on to have a top 40 single as a solo artist under the moniker Vitamin C. I had only seen this film once before I sat down and watched it again to review it, and it was a very long time ago on home video. If I had to venture a guess, probably during the late 90s, early 2000s, 98, 99, 01, 02, somewhere in there. When I saw it originally, if I'm being honest, it didn't do a whole lot for me. Going back and rewatching it now, I feel that it's a lot deeper than I originally remember. There's also quite a few connections on a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon level in this film. For example, John Singleton, the writer and the director of this film, also did Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube and Laurence Fishburne. And even Morris Chestnut, who has an uncredited cameo as one of the anchors in the big track race. Regina King would go on to be in Friday with Ice Cube. Kari Wuhrer, who played one of the girls at the frat parties, a throwaway character, would go on to be in Anaconda a few years later with Ice Cube. Can you think of any other connections? Let me know in the comments. When it comes to my rating for Higher Learning, I give this film 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's definitely one of Cube's best performances for me as Fudge. I didn't even really touch on Busta Rhymes as Dreads, who has a role in this. He's not a major character, very much a supporting character, but not a supporting character on the level of an Ice Cube or a Laurence Fishburne or even a Tyra Banks. I'd say he's like a C or a D level character, which is why he didn't really get mentioned in the descriptions. But Busta Rhymes did a great job as Dreads. Again, the uncredited cameo from Morris Chestnut, tying things back to Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube. Just some really good and deep stuff, and it really shows the way that society was then and how sanctioned off the races were, especially on the heels of O.J. Simpson and Rodney King. It's mind-numbing to go back and watch it, and we're still a country divided. We're still very, more often than not, when you get into these type of situations like a college or whatever, you see the segregation, even though segregation isn't a thing anymore. The blacks tend to stay with their own. The whites tend to stay with their own. The Hispanics tend to stay with their own. You might catch some intermingling within the fraternities and those ranks, but outside of that, you still very much see that to this day, and it's a tragedy. And to watch the way that Remy changed throughout the trajectory of this film is just heartbreaking. From being this quiet kid from the Midwest to having a full-blown flip and turning into a neo-Nazi white supremacist skinhead. It's just like, wait, what? It's crazy, the things that happen to people when they're put into these situations. Definitely enjoyed Higher Learning, though. What did you guys think of it? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. I look forward to engaging with you, having that conversation, that discussion, that debate, the interaction that I'm always looking for from you, my loyal viewers. Thank you guys for joining me, tuning in, coming back to the theater once again. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.